In a world where the line between the living and the dead is thinner than it should be, there are things that don't stay buried and secrets that refuse to fade. Sai Truy Mệnh, the Talisman Walker, follows Jian Mo, a lone Talisman Walker who travels between forgotten places, uncovering ancient horrifying. He doesn't hunt ghosts, he investigates what shouldn't exist, confronting forces bound by rituals, curses, and lost knowledge. Each case begins with something simple: a village rumor, a strange disappearance, an abandoned place no one dares to enter. But beneath every mystery lies something far more dangerous: entities that don't follow the rules of life or death. Jian Mo is not a hero. He is a witness, because some things cannot be destroyed, only delayed. As he dives deeper into hidden formations and forbidden practices, Jian Mo begins to uncover a larger truth. These horrors are not isolated. They are connected, and something somewhere is slowly awakening. This is not just a story about fear. It's a story about what happens when the past refuses to stay buried. They say there is a mirror hidden beneath the old city, a cursed relic that appears only during nights of heavy rain, deep inside the underground spirit market where humans and ghosts trade in silence. No one knows who created it. No one knows how old it truly is, but everyone fears the same thing. The mirror does not show your reflection. It shows what your soul owes. Criminals see the faces of people they destroyed. Murderers hear the screams of the dead crawling behind them. Some people go insane after one glance. Others disappear completely within days, as if something unseen came to collect payment. Tonight, Jian Mo arrives at the market after rumors spread that the mirror has awakened again. Taoists surround it with talismans, terrified to even stand near it. The air itself feels wrong, heavy with whispers and invisible breathing. Then Jian Mo steps forward. He looks into the ancient glass. For several seconds, nothing happens. No visions, no spirits, no death. And suddenly, the mirror cracks. A smile slowly appears on his reflection. But Jian Mo never moved. Long before the underground spirit markets existed, before Taoist sects divided the land with sacred boundaries and talisman laws, there was a forbidden object known only in whispers: the death mirror. Ancient records described it as a spiritual artifact never meant to exist in the human world. According to forgotten Taoist scriptures, the mirror was created during the collapse of a dying kingdom obsessed with immortality. Desperate rulers ordered dark ritualists to forge a weapon capable of exposing the hidden corruption within every soul. They believed that if human guilt could be seen clearly, betrayal and rebellion could be erased forever. But the ritual failed. Hundreds of prisoners, criminals, and dying monks were chained beneath a massive bronze mirror frame. Their souls were burned alive during 7 nights of chanting, while molten silver was poured over sacred bones and black funeral ash. The screams of the dying were sealed into the mirror itself. When the ritual ended, every ritualist involved was found dead. Their bodies were untouched, but their reflections had vanished. The mirror disappeared soon after. For centuries, stories about it spread through hidden Taoist circles. Some called it a cursed judge. Others believed it was a gateway to something sleeping beyond the spirit realm. But every story agreed on one terrifying truth. The mirror did not reveal appearances. It revealed death, not financial death, spiritual death. The burden carried by the soul itself. A liar might see their victim standing behind them. A murderer could see blood leaking endlessly from their own reflection. Some saw dead family members. Others saw creatures that should not exist. The stronger the guilt, the stronger the manifestation became. And once the mirror marked someone, the debt would eventually come to collect itself. There were documented cases of people clawing their own eyes out after looking into it. Entire families vanished after one member secretly gazed into the glass. Taoist masters who tried sealing the artifact either disappeared or went insane within weeks. One legend spoke of a warlord who stared into the mirror and saw nothing at all. 3 days later, his entire fortress was found empty, except for a massive crack burned into the stone floor beneath his throne. No bodies were ever recovered. That story terrified Taoists more than any ghost tale. Because according to the oldest teachings, seeing nothing inside the mirror meant only one thing: your debt was beyond human understanding. Tonight, as rain floods the streets above the hidden market, the mirror has appeared again. Its bronze surface is covered in fresh sealing talismans, proof that someone recently tried to contain whatever lives inside it. The spirits surrounding the market refuse to even face it directly. Even hardened exorcists keep their distance, and when Jian Mo arrives, he immediately feels something impossible. The mirror is not waiting for a victim, it is waiting for him. The underground market fell silent the moment Jian Mo entered. Rainwater dripped from the ceiling of the ancient tunnels, echoing softly through the crowded spirit bazaar. Usually the place was filled with noise, ghost merchants whispering prices, cursed objects rattling inside wooden cages, wandering spirits begging Taoists for protection. Tonight, none of that remained. Every eye was fixed on the center of the market. The mirror stood there like a living wound. It was taller than any man, its surface dark and unnaturally smooth, framed by blackened bronze carved with symbols so old that even veteran exorcists could no longer read them. Hundreds of yellow talismans had been plastered across the frame, but most were already burned at the edges, as if something inside the mirror was slowly consuming them. A cold pressure filled the air around it. Not spiritual energy, something heavier, something alive. Jian Mo stopped several steps away from the artifact. Even from a distance, he could hear faint sounds coming from inside the glass. Breathing, slow and deep, like something sleeping beneath water. An old blind merchant sitting nearby lowered his head immediately when Jian Mo approached. "Don't look into it," the old man whispered. "The mirror already knows your name." Jian Mo ignored him. His instincts told him something was wrong. The talismans covering the frame were fresh. Someone had tried sealing the mirror only days ago, yet the seals were failing rapidly, their ink fading as if drained by invisible hands. Nearby, Taoists watched nervously from the shadows but refused to step closer. One of them clutched a rosary so tight that his fingers bled. Another quietly whispered prayers under his breath. Jian Mo had seen cursed objects before, but never fear like this. He stepped closer. The temperature dropped instantly. His breath became visible in the air. The black surface of the mirror rippled slightly, like liquid disturbed by an unseen movement beneath it. For a moment, Jian Mo thought he saw shapes moving inside the darkness. Faces, dozens of them, all staring directly at him. Then they vanished. The crowd behind him slowly backed away. Everyone knew what normally happened next. The mirror would reveal the debt carried by the soul, and whatever appeared inside it always came with consequences. Jian Mo finally stood directly before the glass. For the first time, he saw his own reflection. Pale face, dark eyes, rain-soaked robes. The talismans hanging from his coat moved gently despite the complete absence of wind. He waited. Nothing happened. No ghosts emerged behind him. No dead faces appeared in the reflection. No voices whispered accusations into his ears. Only silence. Confused murmurs spread through the market. One Taoist took another step backward. "That's impossible," he whispered. Everyone carried spiritual debt, even saints, especially exorcists. The mirror always revealed something, but the surface remained still. Jian Mo narrowed his eyes. For several long seconds, he stared into his own reflection, trying to understand why the artifact had not reacted. Then, his reflection smiled. A slow, unnatural smile. Jian Mo's expression never changed. The crowd gasped. The smile inside the mirror widened further than a human mouth should allow. Crack! A thin fracture appeared across the center of the glass. The entire market froze. Another crack spread across the surface. Then another. The mirror began trembling violently. Talismans burst into flames one by one. Several spirits screamed and fled deeper into the tunnels. The Taoists shouted in panic. "The seal is breaking! This never happened before!" Jian Mo stepped back as the cracks multiplied rapidly across the black surface like spreading veins. But instead of collapsing, the mirror seemed to expand inward, revealing endless darkness beneath the shattered glass. Then something moved inside it, a shape. Tall, thin, watching him from the other side. A long, skeletal hand slowly pressed against the inner surface of the mirror, its fingers bent at impossible angles. The glass bulged outward. Jian Mo instantly reached for a talisman, but before he could react, the hand burst through the mirror. The market exploded into chaos. The creature's arm shot forward with terrifying speed and wrapped around Jian Mo's throat. Its skin looked stretched tightly over blackened bones, dripping thick, dark liquid onto the stone floor. The mirror behind it shattered violently, but the darkness inside remained open, like a doorway waiting to be crossed. And then the creature pulled. Jian Mo's feet left the ground as he was dragged screaming toward the endless void inside the mirror. The moment the creature's hand wrapped around Jian Mo's throat, the entire underground market erupted into panic. Spirit lanterns hanging from the ceiling exploded one after another, showering sparks across the stone floor. Ghost merchants abandoned their stalls and fled into the tunnels, their distorted screams echoing through the darkness. Even the wandering spirits that normally haunted the market disappeared instantly, as if terrified of whatever had emerged from the mirror. Jian Mo grabbed the creature's wrist with both hands. The skin felt freezing cold. Not the cold of death, the cold of something that had never been alive to begin with. The creature's arm was impossibly strong. Thin black veins pulsed beneath its stretched gray flesh, while dark liquid dripped from its fingertips like rotting blood. Its joints bent unnaturally, twitching as though the limb itself struggled to remain in physical form. Jian Mo slammed a talisman directly against its arm. The yellow paper ignited with bright spiritual fire. Normally, even powerful spirits would be torn apart instantly by a seal like that. But this time, nothing happened. The fire died immediately. The creature did not even react. For the first time in years, Jian Mo felt genuine shock. "What are you?" he whispered. The thing answered with silence. Then the grip around his throat tightened. Pain exploded through his chest as his body lifted completely off the ground. Jian Mo struggled for air, while the creature slowly dragged him closer toward the shattered mirror. Behind it, the darkness inside the glass continued moving unnaturally, like a living ocean without light. The broken mirror no longer reflected the market around it. Instead, it revealed only endless blackness, stretching deeper than reality itself. And inside that darkness, shapes moved. Hundreds of them. Human silhouettes pressing against the inside of the void. Watching, waiting. Several Taoists finally rushed forward from the edge of the market. "Seal it now! Don't let it cross completely!" 3 exorcists slammed glowing talismans onto the floor simultaneously. Bright red symbols erupted around the mirror, forming a circular barrier of spiritual light. The ground trembled violently. For a brief second, the creature stopped moving. A terrible screech echoed from inside the mirror. The market lights flickered. Then the creature slowly turned its head toward the Taoists. Jian Mo finally saw its face, or what should have been a face. Its skin looked melted together like unfinished flesh stretched across bone. Empty eye sockets twitched unnaturally, while a massive vertical mouth slowly opened from forehead to throat. Inside the mouth, there were human hands, dozens of them, clawing desperately from within the creature's body. One of the Taoists screamed in terror. The creature moved instantly. Its free arm burst outward like a spear of black flesh and pierced directly through the exorcist's chest. Blood sprayed across the ceiling formation as the man collapsed to the ground. The spiritual barrier shattered immediately. The remaining Taoists fled in horror. The creature turned back toward Jian Mo, and then it spoke, not with a voice, with hundreds of overlapping whispers directly inside his skull. "You belong below." Jian Mo's vision blurred. The whispers grew louder, flooding his mind with fragments of voices, memories, screams, and prayers spoken in languages older than any Taoist scripture he had ever studied. His talismans began burning inside his robes one by one. The thing was consuming spiritual energy simply by existing near him. The creature suddenly pulled harder. Jian Mo's body slammed against the cracked mirror surface. But instead of glass, his back hit something liquid. Cold darkness swallowed half his body instantly. The sensation was unbearable. It felt as though invisible fingers were crawling beneath his skin, searching through his bones and memories at the same time. Jian Mo reacted instinctively. With his free hand, he bit into his thumb and smeared blood across a talisman hidden beneath his sleeve. The symbol ignited crimson, a forbidden blood seal. "Back off!" Jian Mo shouted. The talisman exploded with violent force. A shockwave blasted through the market, throwing nearby stalls into the air and tearing chunks of stone from the walls. The creature finally released him and staggered backward into the mirror's darkness. Jian Mo collapsed hard onto the floor, gasping for breath. For a moment, everything became silent again. Smoke drifted through the ruined market. The surviving Taoists stared at Jian Mo in disbelief. No one had ever escaped physical contact with the mirror entity before. But then, the darkness inside the mirror began expanding, not outward, inward, as though the space behind the glass was opening wider. The shattered edges stretched unnaturally, while deep cracking sounds echoed from somewhere beyond reality itself. And slowly, something massive moved in the darkness behind the creature. The thing that had attacked Jian Mo was not the real horror. It was only a hand reaching out from something far larger. A deep heartbeat echoed from inside the void. Thump! The entire market shook. Thump! The remaining talismans burned to ash. Thump! Blood began dripping from Jian Mo's nose as pressure crushed the air around him. Then the creature inside the mirror knelt, like a servant bowing before its master, and from the endless darkness beyond it, countless glowing eyes slowly opened, all at once, watching Jian Mo recognizing him, waiting for him to return. The moment Jian Mo lost his grip on reality, the world vanished. There was no sensation of falling, no impact, no sound. 1 second he was inside the underground market surrounded by screams and collapsing talismans. The next, everything became darkness, not ordinary darkness. This place had no air, no ground, no sky. It felt less like a world and more like an endless empty space hidden beneath existence itself. Jian Mo floated weightlessly through the void, while distant whispers echoed from every direction at once. At first he could see nothing. Then shapes slowly emerged from the blackness. Human figures, thousands of them. They stood motionless in the distance like shadows carved into the void. Some wore ancient robes from forgotten dynasties. Others looked modern. Men, women, children, all pale, all silent. And every single one of them was staring directly at him. Jian Mo immediately reached for a talisman inside his sleeve. Gone. His pockets were empty. Even the spiritual charm sewn into his robes had disappeared. The mirror world had stripped him of protection. A cold realization settled into his chest. This place did not obey Taoist law. The shadows slowly began moving, not toward him, away from him. One by one, the trapped souls turned and fled deeper into the darkness, as if terrified of something approaching from beyond the void. Their movements became frantic. Some crawled, some stumbled blindly, others screamed without making any sound at all. Jian Mo watched carefully, then he felt it. A vibration beneath reality itself. Thump! The darkness trembled. Thump! A second heartbeat echoed through the void, impossibly deep and heavy, like the pulse of a sleeping god. The fleeing spirits panicked. Several collapsed onto the invisible ground beneath them, clawing desperately at nothing, as if trying to escape somewhere impossible to reach. Thump! This time, Jian Mo felt the heartbeat inside his own body. Pain shot through his chest. Something beneath his skin responded to the sound. A black mark briefly appeared across his wrist before fading again. Jian Mo froze. That symbol, he had seen it once before, years ago. Fragments of memory flashed violently across his mind. A burning temple, blood covering stone floors. Taoists chanting desperately around a massive ceiling formation, someone screaming his name. Then darkness swallowed the memory before he could fully understand it. The heartbeat stopped, silence returned, but the spirits around him continued staring into the distance with absolute terror. Jian Mo slowly turned around. At first he saw nothing, then two enormous eyes opened in the darkness, far away. So massive they looked like moons suspended in the void. The pupils shifted unnaturally, focusing directly onto him. A pressure instantly crushed the space around Jian Mo. His breathing became difficult. Even his thoughts felt slower beneath the creature's gaze. Then more eyes opened. Dozens, hundreds, Different sizes, different shapes, all connected to something too large for the human mind to understand completely. The darkness itself began moving, not around the creature, as the creature. The void twisted unnaturally while gigantic shapes slowly emerged from within it. Limbs longer than buildings, endless black tendrils, fragments of faces constantly forming and dissolving across its surface like drowning souls trapped beneath water. Jian Mo took a step backward instinctively. The thing noticed immediately, and suddenly, a voice whispered beside his ear. "You returned." Jian Mo spun around. No one stood there. But the voice continued speaking from every direction simultaneously. "We waited for you." The trapped souls surrounding him lowered themselves to the ground as if bowing before something sacred and horrifying. Jian Mo felt his heartbeat accelerating. This was not a ghost, not a demon, not even a cursed god. This thing felt older than human belief itself. Its presence warped reality simply by existing. The creature shifted again, and for one terrible moment, Jian Mo saw countless human faces embedded within its body. Some screamed, some cried, others stared blankly with hollow eyes, all trapped inside it, absorbed, consumed. The giant eyes narrowed, and suddenly Jian Mo saw himself reflected inside them. Not as he was now, but as a child, covered in blood, standing inside a ruined ritual chamber. Taoist masters surrounded him in panic while black smoke poured from his chest like living darkness. One old Taoist screamed desperately, "Seal it now before it fully awakens." Another voice answered, "He's the only vessel strong enough." The vision disappeared instantly. Jian Mo staggered backward in shock. Vessel? What did that mean? The whispers around him grew louder. "You carried us. You fed us. You belong to us." The void suddenly shifted beneath Jian Mo's feet. A massive hand slowly rose from the darkness below him. Not the same creature that attacked him in the market. This hand was infinitely larger. Its surface constantly changed between flesh, shadow, and writhing human bodies trying to escape from within it. The hand stopped inches from Jian Mo, waiting, offering itself. Then the voice whispered again, "Come closer." Jian Mo forced himself backward. The moment he refused, the void reacted violently. The trapped spirits began screaming soundlessly as the darkness consumed them one by one. Their bodies stretched unnaturally before dissolving into black smoke, absorbed directly into the enormous creature surrounding the realm. And with every soul it consumed, the thing grew larger. The heartbeat returned. Thump! A crack spread across the darkness itself. Thump! The void trembled violently. Thump! Jian Mo suddenly realized the horrifying truth. The mirror was never a prison, it was a door, and something on the other side had been growing stronger for centuries. Waiting for enough souls, waiting for the seal to weaken, waiting for him. Then the massive creature leaned closer through the darkness until its countless eyes completely filled Jian Mo's vision. And finally, it smiled. The smile stretching across the creature's countless faces did not look human. It looked familiar. That realization terrified Jian Mo more than the endless void surrounding him. The giant eyes staring into him began shifting rapidly, changing shape like reflections moving across broken water. Within them, Jian Mo saw fragments of memories that did not belong to him. Collapsed temples buried beneath mountains, oceans turning black under blood-red skies, entire cities abandoned while shadows moved between empty streets. Every vision ended the same way, darkness swallowing everything. The voice echoed again through the void. "You were never meant to survive." The words struck Jian Mo like a physical blow. Around him, the trapped souls continued kneeling in silence while the giant entity slowly moved closer. Its body seemed impossible to define completely. One moment it resembled a mass of endless limbs. The next, it looked like an entire world hidden beneath black flesh. Human faces constantly emerged and dissolved across its surface, all whispering fragments of forgotten prayers. Jian Mo forced himself to speak. "What are you?" The creature stopped moving. For the first time since entering the mirror realm, the whispers became silent. Then every face on the entity slowly turned toward him simultaneously, and they answered together. "We are what remains." The void trembled violently. A flood of memories exploded into Jian Mo's mind without warning. He saw a mountain temple hidden deep within ancient forests centuries ago. Taoist masters covered the walls with blood-written seals, while thousands of candles burned in complete silence. Outside the temple, bodies covered the ground for miles. Not soldiers, villagers, entire families, all drained of life. In the center of the temple stood a massive black gate surrounded by chains carved with sacred symbols. The gate pulsed like a living heart while something enormous moved behind it. The Taoists were terrified. One elderly master screamed at the others while drawing symbols across the floor with his own blood. "It's awakening too early. We cannot contain it anymore," another voice shouted back. "Then seal it inside a vessel." Jian Mo watched the memory helplessly as several Taoists carried a child into the chamber. A boy no older than 8 years old, himself. Young Jian Mo struggled violently while black veins spread across his skin like living insects beneath flesh. His eyes flickered between normal and completely black. Something inside him was trying to come out. The Taoists forced him into the center of the ceiling formation. The child screamed, not alone. Another voice screamed with him, deeper, older. The sound shook the entire temple. The memory shifted again. Jian Mo saw himself lying unconscious while Taoist masters carved sealing symbols directly into his chest using glowing ritual knives. Some of the exorcists were crying as they worked. Others looked horrified by what they had done. Then the oldest master leaned close to the child and whispered, "You are no longer human." The memory shattered. Jian Mo staggered backward inside the void, breathing heavily. "No," he whispered. The giant entity watched silently. His chest suddenly burned with unbearable pain. The skin beneath his robes began glowing faintly. Ancient symbols appeared across his body, one after another, rising beneath the flesh like chains, trying desperately to hold something in place. The seals were weakening. The creature surrounding the void slowly lowered itself closer to him. "You carried us for many lifetimes." Jian Mo clenched his fists. "I'm not your vessel." The entity smiled again. "You already are." Suddenly, the darkness around them shifted. The void transformed into another memory. This time, Jian Mo stood inside the underground market itself, but decades earlier. The same mirror stood in the center of the room, surrounded by Taoists dressed in ancient ceremonial robes. One by one, the exorcists stared into the mirror, and each time they did, the mirror cracked slightly, not from their guilt, from fear. The artifact was reacting to something hidden beyond them, something approaching. The lead Taoist finally understood the truth. "The mirror cannot judge him," he whispered. "It recognizes what's inside." The others turned toward the child standing silently nearby. Young Jian Mo. Black smoke leaked from his shadow across the floor. One Taoist drew his sword immediately. "We must kill the vessel before it matures." Another stopped him. "If the vessel dies, the seal breaks completely." Panic spread through the chamber. The argument became louder. Then suddenly, every candle inside the room extinguished at once. Darkness swallowed everything. And from inside the mirror, gigantic eyes slowly opened. The Taoists began screaming. The memory ended instantly. Jian Mo collapsed to one knee in the void, trembling. His entire life had been built on lies. He had believed he survived that ritual by luck, believed the strange spiritual abilities he carried were blessings earned through suffering. But now he understood the truth. He was never chosen. He was constructed, created as a prison for something that should never exist in the human world. The entity circled him slowly through the darkness. "You fear us now," the voices whispered, "but once your kind worshipped us." Jian Mo looked upward. "What are you?" For the first time, the creature answered clearly, "We are hunger." The void began trembling harder. The trapped souls surrounding them suddenly started screaming as invisible force pulled them upward into the entity's body. Thousands of spirits dissolved into black smoke and disappeared beneath its flesh. The creature was feeding, growing stronger, and with every soul consumed, the symbols sealing Jian Mo's body faded slightly. The entity lowered itself closer until its enormous eyes completely surrounded him. "Your debt was never death," it whispered softly. "It was birth." Jian Mo's blood froze. The creature opened part of its body, revealing an endless abyss filled with twisting shadows and human remains stretching infinitely downward. Inside the abyss, something was forming, a shape, a body, incomplete, growing slowly from darkness and souls, and horrifyingly, it resembled Jian Mo himself. The entity spoke one final time. When the final seal breaks, the giant heartbeat echoed through the void again. Thump! We will become whole. The heartbeat continued echoing through the void. Thump! Each pulse shook the mirror realm harder than the last. Cracks spread across the darkness itself like fractures forming inside glass, exposing glimpses of something deeper, hidden beneath reality. And every time the sound echoed, the seals inside Jian Mo's body weakened. He could feel it happening. The ancient symbols burned beneath his skin like heated chains, melting apart one link at a time. Black veins spread slowly across his arms and neck, pulsing in rhythm with the creature surrounding the void. The entity watched him silently, waiting, patient, as if it had already seen this moment countless times before. Around them, the trapped souls began collapsing one after another. Some dissolved into smoke instantly, others twisted violently before being dragged screaming into the creature's endless body. The entity was feeding faster now, growing. Its enormous form expanded across the void until the darkness itself seemed alive with movement. Countless eyes blinked open across the blackness, staring down at Jian Mo from every direction. Then the whispers began again, not from the creature, from the souls trapped inside it. Run! Don't let it awaken. It wears your face. The voices overlapped chaotically until Jian Mo could barely think. He pressed both hands against his head, struggling to block them out. But the whispers only grew louder. Then suddenly, one voice became clear. A woman's voice, soft, broken. Jian Mo, he froze instantly. The darkness shifted nearby, and a human figure slowly emerged from the void. A woman wearing burned Taoist robes, her face pale, her eyes filled with terror. Jian Mo recognized her immediately, Master Yun, the Taoist exorcist who raised him after the temple massacre, the woman who disappeared years ago without explanation. For a brief moment, relief flooded through him. Master Yun? She stared at him in horror. Why did you come here? She whispered. Jian Mo stepped toward her instinctively, but then he noticed something wrong. Her lower body was missing. No, not missing. Absorbed. Black tendrils stretched from her spine into the darkness behind her, connecting her directly to the massive entity surrounding the void, like she had become part of it. Master Yun began trembling violently. You have to listen carefully, she said desperately. The seal is breaking much faster than we feared. Jian Mo's chest tightened. You knew? Tears formed in her eyes. All of us knew. The void trembled again. Thump! Master Yun winced in pain as black veins spread across her face. We didn't save you in that temple, she whispered. We sacrificed you. The words shattered something inside him. Master Yun continued speaking quickly, as though terrified she would lose control at any moment. The entity cannot fully exist in our world. It needed a living vessel strong enough to contain its consciousness while it slowly matured. Her voice shook violently. You were the only child who survived exposure to it. Jian Mo stepped backward slowly. No, we thought the seals would suppress it forever, she continued. But every spirit you exorcised, every cursed artifact you touched, every death surrounding you, her expression collapsed into despair. It fed the thing inside you. The realization hit Jian Mo like a blade through the chest. His entire life, every battle, every supernatural encounter, had only made the entity stronger. The darkness around them suddenly began moving violently. The entity was listening. Master Yun's face twisted in panic. It knows I'm telling you the truth. Black tendrils erupted across her body instantly, wrapping around her throat and arms. She screamed as the void pulled her backward toward the massive creature. Jian Mo lunged forward, but the moment he touched her hand, he saw everything. Memories flooded into him. The ancient temple, the ritual, the screaming Taoists, and something else, a hidden truth buried beneath all the others. The entity had not been discovered accidentally. It had been summoned. Centuries ago, desperate Taoist sects searching for immortality opened a forbidden gate beyond the spirit realm. They believed they could control whatever existed there. Instead, they unleashed something that consumed souls endlessly, an intelligence without form, without mercy, without end. Entire dynasties vanished trying to contain it. The debt mirror was never created to imprison the entity. It was created to monitor the vessel carrying it. Jian Mo tore himself away from the vision in horror. Master Yun screamed as the darkness dragged her upward into the creature's body. Before disappearing completely, she looked directly at him one final time. "There's only one way to stop it," she cried. Then she vanished into the void. The heartbeat exploded again. Thump! This time the seals across Jian Mo's body cracked visibly beneath his skin. Pain flooded through him instantly. He collapsed onto the invisible ground as black smoke poured from his mouth. The entity surrounding the void began changing shape rapidly. The countless faces embedded within its flesh all turned toward him simultaneously. And slowly, those faces began becoming his. Hundreds of distorted versions of Jian Mo emerged across the creature's body, each one smiling differently. Some looked human, others looked monstrous. All of them whispered together, "You are almost ready." Jian Mo struggled to stand. His shadow beneath him moved independently again, twisting unnaturally across the void floor like a living creature trying to separate itself from its body. The entity lowered itself closer. Massive tendrils descended around him like the roots of a dying god. "You fear becoming us," the voices whispered, "but you already carry our heart." Suddenly, Jian Mo felt another heartbeat inside his own chest. Not his own, something else beating beneath it, alive, awakening. The black veins spread across half his body instantly. Fragments of memories that were not human began appearing in his mind. Worlds consumed by darkness, civilizations erased in silence, oceans filled with floating corpses beneath black skies. The entity had existed long before humanity, and now it was trying to be born again through him. Jian Mo looked down in horror as his reflection appeared beneath his feet inside the darkness. But it was no longer his face. The reflection smiled slowly, then opened its mouth impossibly wide, and from inside that mouth, thousands of screaming souls began crawling out. The screaming souls poured endlessly from the reflection beneath Jian Mo's feet. They clawed across the darkness like drowning bodies escaping from deep water, their faces twisted in agony as they reached toward him. Some begged for help, others screamed warnings in forgotten languages, but all of them were being dragged toward the massive entity surrounding the void, consumed, absorbed, erased. The creature's heartbeat thundered louder than ever. Thump! The entire mirror realm shook violently. Cracks split open across the darkness, revealing glimpses of the underground market beyond the mirror. Jian Mo could see terrified Taoists fleeing, while the shattered artifact pulsed like a living wound in reality itself. The barrier between worlds was collapsing, and the entity knew it. "You cannot stop the birth," the countless voices whispered together. Massive tendrils descended from the darkness above Jian Mo, tearing through the void like black lightning. The air itself distorted around them. Wherever the tendrils touched, trapped souls were instantly pulled apart and absorbed into the creature's endless body. Jian Mo staggered backward, breathing heavily. The black veins had already spread across most of his chest and arms. Every heartbeat inside him felt wrong now, slower, deeper, older than human life. The thing inside him was awakening, and it was winning. One of the enormous eyes lowered close to Jian Mo's face. Within its reflection, he no longer looked human. His shadow had grown taller. Its body stretched unnaturally behind him. Multiple eyes blinked open across the reflection's skin. The entity whispered softly, "Accept us." Jian Mo clenched his fist so tightly blood ran down his fingers. "No." The creature paused. For the first time, the endless whisper surrounding the void became silent. Then, the darkness erupted violently. Tendrils shot toward Jian Mo from every direction simultaneously. He moved instantly. With a roar, Jian Mo bit deeply into his own palm and slammed both blood-covered hands against the void beneath him. Ancient symbols exploded outward in crimson light. Forbidden Taoist seals, not designed to exorcise spirits, designed to destroy vessels. The void trembled violently as chains made of glowing blood erupted across the darkness, wrapping around the entity's limbs and countless eyes. The creature screamed for the first time since revealing itself. The sound was unbearable. Entire sections of the mirror realm shattered apart. The trapped souls collapsed screaming, while black storms tore through the void. Jian Mo forced himself to continue chanting despite blood pouring from his mouth. Every word burned his throat. The seals reacted instantly to his life force. consuming him from the inside. His skin cracked as glowing symbols spread across his body like burning fractures. The entity thrashed violently against the chains. "You would destroy yourself?" it roared. Jian Mo looked directly into the creature's endless eyes. "If that's what it takes." The chains tightened. One by one, the massive eyes embedded across the void began exploding into black smoke. The darkness surrounding the realm recoiled violently as the forbidden seals consumed everything they touched. For a brief moment, the entity weakened, and Jian Mo finally saw its true form. Not a god, not a demon, but an endless mass of stolen souls fused together into a single consciousness. Countless civilizations, spirits, memories, and identities crushed into one eternal hunger. It had no true body, only consumption. The creature screamed again, this time with fear. "You cannot kill us," the voices whispered desperately. "We are already inside you." The black veins across Jian Mo's body suddenly spread to his face. Pain exploded through his skull. The entity was fighting back from within him. The blood chains began cracking apart one by one. Jian Mo's knees buckled. He was losing control. The creature sensed it instantly. The darkness surged forward again like a tidal wave. "Your body belongs to us." The chains shattered completely. The entity lunged toward him. The void collapsed inward as countless souls were dragged screaming into the darkness surrounding its true core. Reality itself bent around the creature's presence. Jian Mo realized the horrifying truth. Even these forbidden seals were not enough. The entity had grown too powerful over centuries of feeding. If it fully awakened here, it would escape the mirror realm forever, and the human world would become its feeding ground. Then suddenly, another memory surfaced inside Jian Mo's mind. Master Yun's final words. "There's only one way to stop it." Jian Mo froze. Slowly, he reached beneath his robes toward the center of his chest. Hidden beneath layers of sealing cloth was a final talisman. Ancient, blackened with age. The last seal placed inside him during the ritual long ago. The seal that every Taoist feared activated. Jian Mo stared at it silently while the entity rushed toward him through the collapsing void. If he released this seal, something far worse might happen, but there was no other choice. The creature opened countless mouths at once, screaming in triumph as it descended upon him, and Jian Mo tore the final seal from his chest. Instantly, everything stopped. The void froze completely. The entity's massive body became motionless mid-attack. Even the screaming souls fell silent. For one impossible second, the entire mirror realm became still. Then something beneath Jian Mo's shadow slowly opened its eyes. The moment the final seal broke, the mirror realm collapsed. A shockwave of darkness exploded across the void, tearing through trapped souls, shattered memories, and the endless black horizon surrounding the entity. The massive creature screamed as cracks spread rapidly across its body like fractures splitting open a dying world. Then the screaming stopped. Everything vanished. The underground market returned all at once. Jian Mo slammed violently onto the cold stone floor, coughing blood as broken fragments of bronze rained around him. The ancient mirror had completely shattered. Its black surface was gone, reduced to thousands of jagged pieces scattered across the ruined market. For several long seconds, nobody moved. Smoke drifted through the tunnels. Burned talismans covered the ground. The surviving Taoists stared at Jian Mo in absolute silence. None of them understood what had just happened, but all of them felt it. The pressure inside the market was gone. The horrifying presence beyond the mirror had disappeared, at least for now. Jian Mo struggled to breathe. Every muscle in his body burned as though his bones had been carved apart from the inside. The black veins across his skin slowly faded beneath the surface, though traces of darkness still lingered around his throat and chest. Nearby, one surviving Taoist cautiously approached the shattered remains of the mirror. His hands trembled violently. "It's over," the man whispered. Then he noticed something. One piece of the broken mirror still reflected movement. The Taoist frowned. Jian Mo was lying motionless on the floor. But inside the reflection, his shadow was standing. The Taoist's face went pale instantly. The shadow slowly turned its head toward him and smiled. The man screamed and stumbled backward. Every surviving exorcist immediately raised talismans in panic. Jian Mo looked up weakly. What happened? No one answered. The Taoist pointed shakily toward the broken shard lying nearby. Jian Mo slowly picked it up. At first, he saw only his exhausted reflection staring back at him. Then the image flickered. For a split second, another face appeared over his own. A darker version of himself, its eyes completely black, its mouth stretched into an unnatural grin. Then the reflection returned to normal. Jian Mo froze. The entity was still alive, not trapped inside the mirror anymore. Inside him, a sudden sharp pain spread through his chest. Jian Mo grabbed his robes tightly as his echo flowed faintly inside his skull once again. Not loud, not aggressive, patient, waiting. You open the final seal? The voice sounded calmer now, almost gentle. And now there is no prison left. Jian Mo's breathing slowed. He finally understood the true purpose of the final seal hidden inside his body. It had never been designed to destroy the entity. It had been created to separate the mirror realm from the human world by sacrificing the barrier holding both together. The mirror was gone. The prison was broken, which meant the entity no longer needed the other side. It already had a vessel, and for the first time since childhood, Jian Mo could feel its thoughts moving beneath his own. Hungry, ancient, awake, the surviving Taoist slowly backed away from him. Fear filled their eyes now. Not gratitude, not relief, fear, because they had all witnessed the impossible. Jian Mo survived direct contact with the entity, and worse, part of it survived with him. One elderly exorcist whispered shakily, "We should kill him now." Another immediately answered, "What if killing him releases it completely?" Silence followed. No one dared move. Jian Mo slowly stood despite the pain tearing through his body. The market around him looked devastated. Collapsed stalls, scattered ritual tools, bloodstains across cracked stone floors. But beyond the destruction, something else felt wrong. The shadows inside the tunnels were moving unnaturally. Watching him, waiting. Jian Mo turned toward the darkness deeper within the underground market, and from somewhere far below the city, he heard the heartbeat again. Thump! Soft, distant, alive. The entity had not escaped fully, but it no longer needed the mirror. It was growing inside him now, and eventually, it would be born. They say every soul carries a debt. Some owe guilt, some owe blood, some owe the dead. But what if your debt was something far worse? What if deep inside you there was something ancient waiting to awaken? Something feeding on every fear, every mistake, every piece of darkness you tried to hide from the world. The debt mirror never judged people for their sins. It revealed what was still unfinished inside them. And when Jian Mo looked into the mirror, it did not show him ghosts or regret. It recognized him, not as a victim, not as a human, but as a prison slowly breaking apart. Tonight, the mirror is gone. The seal is broken. And somewhere beneath the city, something ancient has started breathing again. So ask yourself this. If a cursed mirror revealed the true debt hidden inside your soul, would you dare look into it? And if your reflection suddenly smiled back at you, would you still believe the person in the mirror was truly yourself?